Up, though, a bipartisan effort to address one of the most pressing issues at our end of the state peninsula, climate change.
It is an issue that has become highly contentious in recent years, with many Republicans saying they have not seen convincing evidence that human activity causes climate change or sea level rise. Most Democrats, on the other hand, say the evidence and the science behind it is overwhelming and that steps must be taken to curb it.
Congressman Carlos Curbelo is one Republican who agrees. This week, he joined with Democrat Ted Deutsch to form what they call the Climate Solutions Caucus. Congressman Curbelo is serving his first term repping the 26th Congressional District, Southwest Miami-Dade, and the Keys. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day.
And thank you, and to you and your wife, and thanks for coming in. Let's begin with the Climate Solutions Caucus. It is so unusual that a Republican, a Democrat, and Ted Deutsch, who we invited, could not be here this morning, is a liberal Democrat, and you are a moderate conservative Republican. How did you come together to do this?
Michael, we live in South Florida. I represent the Florida Keys. We live at about sea level, and I have seen convincing, hard data that sea levels are rising. I want to live here for the rest of my life. I know my little girls want to live here, well, probably want to live here the rest of their lives, or at least have the option to. And if we don't do something, the trends are very troubling. So this is a sober effort to address an issue that is already having a direct impact on our livelihood here in South Florida, and only looks to get worse.
So doing something means what? What is the mission of the caucus, and what is the caucus planning to do that other efforts like this have not? I mean, this is legislative.
So what we've done is historic, because for the first time in the U.S. House of Representatives in at least 2 decades, this issue is now officially a bipartisan issue. Now, the question is, can we be relevant? And we have to be relevant, and that means crafting policies that both parties can get behind to address climate change. Some of this is going to have to do with the human impact on climate change, so mitigating human impact on climate change, meaning reducing carbon emissions. Yeah. There are other components of it that are more practical, like preparing for climate change. How do we build the infrastructure in South Florida, make the government investments that we're going to have to make this area livable? So we're now trying to build out the caucus, encourage Republicans and Democrats to join. You can only join if you have a partner from the other party that will join with you at the same time. That way we keep it truly bipartisan. And I'm very hopeful. There are now 14 Republicans in the House that have signed a resolution that recognizes climate change as a real issue and encourages the government to start working towards solutions.
Yeah, and what about House Speaker Paul Ryan? Have you approached him and said, Speaker, we've got this bipartisan caucus and support us, help us?
We want to grow our numbers before we go to leadership and start making specific requests. We need to show that we have a good, strong number of Republicans that will join Democrats like Ted Deutsch, who I'm so grateful to him for having the courage. It takes courage to be bipartisan in Washington, D.C. in these days, because sometimes leadership on both sides frowns upon it. So I thank him for being a wonderful representative for his community and for his willingness to do this together with me.
So, you know, it was so